Hello and welcome to The Verbal Edge. I'm communication coach Elizabeth Nulf MacDonald. This program is for you who loves and appreciates communication skills in writing and presenting yourself or your ideas or speaking. Well, I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever been to a party and somebody says, wow, somebody is a real high D, or John let his I get out of control, or I can tell you're a C because your house is meticulous, and you're thinking, I don't know what they're talking about, and you just nod, and you don't want to say, well, explain this to me because you know it's going to take too long, and so you just act like you know what you're saying, or they're saying. Well, today we're going to find out about these D's and these I's and these C's and these S's, and it's called DISC. And with us is a certified DISC trainer, Randi Lincoln. And Randi, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I am eager to do this because this is a personality process that I go through many times when I'm around people, and I'm sure you do too.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the DISC.
DISC is actually a personality option. It's learning about your personality. If there were 4 different personalities and 4 different ways of dealing with people, and you have one, it's your job to learn how to adapt to other people's personalities, or we're communicating with 3 forms of personality in the wrong way.
Okay.
If you've ever worked with someone and you thought you really got your point across, but they had that far away look on their face and they never returned for communication, probably telling you you may want to learn how to communicate with others a little better. The DISC helps you learn what your personality is so that you can work better with other personalities, but then it helps you to determine other people's personalities so that you can communicate more effectively with them.
And this is invaluable.
It is for me.
It is. And DISC is an acronym, and it stands for 4 words, and we have visuals of this.
Okay.
So let's turn to those visuals so
All right.
people will be able to see that.
Good. And the D stands for dominant or direct. The I is for influencing. The C is slow, security, steady. And the C is conscientious and compliant. Now, those personality types, to look at that, it may be difficult to place yourself in one of those positions. The majority of people are not just a D. They will be a D with an I backup, or a D with, and we'll go into that just a little bit.
Okay.
The dominant person is usually the leader, the driver, the promoter. They're fast-paced. They enjoy success. They enjoy challenges. They're very practical, but they like being in charge. Now, they're the people that if something is going to be done, they're going to say, we need to make money. We're going to have a fundraiser.
All right.
They understand everything about other people, they think, but not necessarily until they start working with personalities. Because they're so driven and demanding and determined, they can come across as offensive and crass to people if they're not cautious. They're very decisive, and they're doers. They get it done on the spot. They don't want to wait. They don't want to take the work home with them and bring it back. They want to do it now so that it's over with.
Can you think of someone who is someone we would all know who might come to your mind real quickly as a D?
A high D would be the President of the United States.
I was thinking of him myself.
Yes. It is his job to make a decision, stand behind it, and have a well-thought-out plan right out of the gate.
Good.
That is his job.
Glad he's a high D on that one.
Exactly. Next is the I, and the I influencing is very creative, very, very much a performer, because people being around them is very important. They're fun. Everything is how much fun they can have, and they like being stroked by people. They like the recognition. They're very popular. They like to be the life of the party. They like applause and attention constantly. They are also fast-paced as long as they're around people. They're very busy. They have lots of energy, and they're very inspirational. They're very much the type of a person that would have a party. They, when it comes to the carnival, would be running around telling people, the carnival's coming, the carnival's coming, the carnival's coming. Now, the S personality is slow to change, security-minded, and steady.
Okay.
Don't change things without telling them. That will not make them happy. But they're the person to support the D's and the I's. They'll get everything done. They'll help them. They'll organize. They have lots of family and friends, and that's what's important in their lives. They don't really care if they're successful, and they don't like challenges. They desire to keep their environment from changing at all costs. They're very loving. They're very warm, and they're very loyal. They're honest and open. They accept everyone, and they want everyone to feel accepted. And they're traditional. Their personality is very supportive. Their personality is very submissive and stable. And they're very sentimental, but they're also very shy. Sometimes they'll be very introverted because they don't need to be the life of the party.
And yet, family and friends.
Absolutely.
That seems a little at odds.
They're the ones that want to make sure the family stays together and that everyone's happy.
Okay.
If there's any disturbance, they're trying to smooth it out in the background.
So they're not like the I's saying, family and friends, party.
No.
Okay.
They're saying we're having a party and we anticipate that everyone will be together again.
Okay.
Okay. And an S during the carnival situation for the fundraiser is the one that's going, now we're going to have this many people, we need this much food, where are we going to have it? Is it going to be it's just the support system.
Okay, good.
And we all need that support
Yes.
system.
Yeah.
Now the C is conscientious and compliant, sometimes very detailed. They're the analyzer, the organizer, the numbers kind of person. They're very structured. They like details. They love number crunching. They enjoy being busy all the time. They like achieving their goals the way that they're supposed to be. Understanding their personality is that they're very critical, not necessarily of others, but more themselves. They're very cautious and competent that when they do it the first time, it's the right way. They won't go back to fix it because they've done it correctly. They're very calculating, not in a bad way. They're very concentrated, very careful, and very contemplative. These are wonderful assistants and secretaries because they will carry out your plan correctly.
All right, now we have some people, and now an easier way to even know who is who. You can even break it down a little further, right?
You really can.
Okay, let's do that.
You really can. If you're an outstanding personality, and I'm going to put this in the personality of yourself, we pretty much know what we are. And if we are outgoing, even if we're not necessarily outgoing proof, but we just would rather be outgoing and be very friendly, we're probably a D or an I.
Okay.
Most probably. They're outgoing and fast-paced, okay? They're optimistic, all right? So if you fall into these categories, probably a D or an I, or maybe both.
All right.
If you are very reserved, if you're very slow-paced, slow to change, if you're fearful and just protective and cautious of things, probably a C or an S, or both. If you are task-oriented, you love numbers, and this is a small amount of people, you're probably a DC or a D or a C because they're the drivers. They're the ones who are direct. They know what they want, but they're detailed about it. And if you're very people-oriented, you love building relationships. It's important to you that you are liked and that you are accepted. You're probably an I or an S or both.
All right. Yes. Very well done. Now, let's go one by one and let's visit the D and see what, so we have somebody who is task-oriented and outgoing and fast-paced. Tell us a story about somebody who might be a D.
Someone who may be a high D they're going to be loud, they're going to tell you what to do, probably with their finger pointed, not because they think they can do it better, just because that's the way that they communicate. Sometimes that can be very difficult because high Ds can really turn people off when that is not their intent. Their intent is to guide and help, and what they actually do, because of the way that they communicate, it can come across very cold. And it's very important for a high D to kind of back up a little bit, be a little softer. Instead of telling you what to do, I may ask you a couple of questions to make you feel like you're part of the answer before we start working on it.
Let's say we are working for a high D. How do we approach a high D?
very carefully, very carefully, because you want to make sure that they are accepting you coming to them, that you're bringing them something that they need to know. Ask their opinion. They want to give their opinion and they want to be valued. So make sure that you let them know that was a good idea.
In some of our seminars, we also do the DISC. And one of the things that I mentioned too is if we are involved with a high D, bottom line, bullet points, they appreciate that.
Yes.
As opposed to
Clear
the C.
cut.
Yes.
Yeah, don't muddy things up. Make it very clear and direct.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. The next would be an I.
And so that's the outgoing, fast-paced, optimistic people and relationships.
People are very important to them. Eyes need to be around people all the time, and not necessarily through Facebook or online. They need to be in a relationship face-to-face with people. That's what validates them. They'll watch people's body language to see if they're accepted. And if they're not, or if someone's not happy, and I will try to fix that. They need to make sure that they're accepted and that everybody likes them. But they're also the party people. They're the ones that will make sure everybody's having a good time. If there's something going on, even in the office, it can't all be work. It has to be work with fun. Has to be fun. So that's very important to them, that they're outgoing, they're accepted, and they're having a good time.
Do you have a story about an I?
Eyes are, Mary Kay Ash was a wonderful eye. She loved people, but she loved to teach them how to work and have a good time at the same time. And she asked them to pass that on, wearing the pink Cadillacs, the pink boas, anything like that. It was a good time.
And you are a senior sales director for Mary Kay, and you use the DISC, don't you?
I do. I not only use the DISC now, but when I was a labor and delivery nurse at Lutheran Hospital, they actually gave me the DISC test as a person who worked there. They wanted that personality knowledge for all of us. And of course, as a nurse in labor and delivery, my personality was completely different than it is now. I was a very high D with an I back because I liked to have a good time, but I had to be very responsible and very direct because labor and delivery nursing is a little different than other nursing. It's 2 patients, you can only see one, and you're responsible for both. So that was very important. As I moved into Mary Kay, not only did my personality change from a D to a high I, because I not only got to have a good time now, but I still got to teach other people how to do that at the same time. So I really enjoy that part of my work, but I can pass it on. And doing Mary Kay has helped me to understand that whether I was a D or an I, in order to communicate with the 150 consultants that I have from coast to coast, if I was just going to project my D on them and expect them to deal with it, those days are over. People will work with other people. So I had to learn what my personality was first, and then I had to learn what theirs was so that I could effectively communicate and train women so that they could work in the field.
And I can see how this would work. If you were talking to an I, you could say, you get to have parties and make people look great.
Yeah.